Are we actually live or are we not? Okay, so we can start. I had a little problem with the Steam, with setting it up on YouTube, but I think everything now works. Okay, so hello. Today I have another model that I designed, and I will be assembling a prototype of today. As you can see in the thumbnail, it's a ballista. I have it printed here in resin. I have PLA base that I will be using for this model, but we won't be needing it now, so we can set it aside. Here are all the parts. The model comes in parts like you see here, with supports removed, with the base. It's 28mm scale, so it works great for wargaming. Give me a second. I think we are having problems with the Steam again. Stupid YouTube. I don't know if we are live or no. Give me a second. Okay, I think we are, but the connection is pretty slow, so I guess we just need to continue. Okay, so the set will come as you see here, but since I just finished modeling it, I need to assemble the prototype to see if all the connections work as I intended, if everything is strong enough, if the details came out right. So like with the tank, I will be assembling the prototype today, implementing any changes that need to be implemented, and then I will be releasing this kit so you can purchase a copy of your own. The kit, at least for now, at the beginning, will be comprised just of the siege engine. They will not be included any figures, any engineers, but I have planned for today also, when we finish the model, and if we have some time, I prepared two figures of Uruk-hai warriors, one with pike, shield and sword, that I will be converting to engineers to add to the ballista. As for the captain, I will be using just a standard metal captain. It's a paint job I did around 10-15 years ago. Nothing special, nothing to write home about, but I think it looks okay, so I will not be repainting this one. Okay, so this will be after, if we have time, so let's set it aside for now, and we can start with the model. I'm trying to think, is there anything I need to mention before we start? If I remember it, I'll mention it. So let's actually start. As you can see, we have many different parts here. As I will be going along with the build, I will be trying to figure out the best way to the best order in which to assemble the parts. But I think we need to go from the bottom up, so I think we'll start with the cart. And also what I want to tell you about, because I think it's pretty interesting. This model is in a way special. It's imported them as mesh models, and I imported them into Blender, which I never worked in before. It was the first time for me, so I had a pretty few things to learn, but stumbling around in Fusion in Blender, I managed to texture all the parts. And if I hide the blocks that I made in Fusion, you can see that we have mesh models. Fusion gives each triangle a black outline, so it's pretty hard to see. It gets pretty dark very quickly. So I'll just switch for shading without edges, and you can see that all the parts have this nice wooden texture. I'm sure that that there are more efficient ways to do this. I'm sure people who are reasonable and realistic. So, for example, here where the wood is cut off, I added a different texture on the top of the beam. So I wanted to make this model look a little more realistic. And also it will be a little easier to paint this way, because if I would leave the model smooth, you would have to paint the texture of wood by hand with a brush, which you can do, but with the texture already on the model, you can just paint it brown, wash it, and it will be a very easy and quick process. So I hope the texture will make it easier to paint nicely. That's one important thing to mention. And the other important thing to mention is what you might have seen in a before a few seconds ago. This is sort of this classic resting pose of the ballista with the bow being relaxed. So the bolt was already thrown from the engine, from the Siege engine. But also I wanted to give customers a second pose that they can choose, and I also modeled this pose, which is the bow is taut. The cage is back, the bolt is loaded, so it looks pretty different. If you want to have a few ballistas for your Isengard army or some Orc army, you can switch it up. They don't all have to look exactly the same. Some of them can be loaded, some of them can be unloaded. So I hope it will also give this set some nice additional features. The interesting thing about this bow part is all the other parts of the ballista were, like I mentioned, modeled in Fusion and textured in Blender. But for the bow, I initially modeled it in Fusion in the relaxed state, this one. And then to spare myself the work, because I could have modeled it again in this other position, but I wanted to skip it and make it a little easier on myself. So the way I did it is I exported the bow part as a mesh, and I bended it in Fusion, leaving me with this position. So if I switch to edges, you can see that it's a mesh model, and it was another new thing for me, along with the texturing in Blender, sort of deforming and bending parts. I had to look up quite a few tutorials on YouTube, and also kind of stumbled my way through the process. So it was very fun to learn new things and experiment and to have new tools in my tool set. So it was pretty fun too. I leave the program open if I need to check something or explain something, but we can actually go back to the camera. Okay, here we go, and here are two bows, as you can see. Here's the classic one and here is the third one. I think with the second pose being this sort of unique thing about this kit, this particular kit, and with this much work put into it, I think there is only one option for me today. I think I will have to assemble it with this version, but we will get to it in a minute. Also, I want to show you the texture, how it came out. Oh, you can actually see it pretty well. Here you have the grain texture, and here is this sort of end grain. I hope it will take a lot of more wash and make it look a little darker than along the pieces. So I hope it will give nice additional details. I also have a macro lens set up because I didn't know if the texture would show, but I don't think it's necessary. It's basically the same. I don't think the lens is necessary. Yeah, so that's how the pieces look. Also, I luckily when I started modeling, I knew that I will be trying to do this texturing, and I will be exporting the parts into Blender. So luckily, when I started, I was already prepared for it, and when I modeled the pieces, I left each plank of wood as a separate piece. I didn't model the whole thing as one body in Fusion, but I come on, stupid camera, come on, zoom. So when I imported the models into Fusion, I could hide the particular parts that I wasn't working at the moment, and I could add all the textures I wanted. So even between the parts, you can see that there's this nice delineation. I hope it will also be picked up by the wash. So I hope it will all turn out nicely. Here you can also see the details on the wheel. Those columns are pretty interesting also, if we can zoom on them. Here we go. Pretty nice pieces. Anything more interesting? Oh, on the bows there's also this texture on the leaf spring, individual sheets that make the spring of the bow. So it's also pretty nice detail that I think came out nicely. Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to mention before we start. Here's also the bed. You can see nice little details here in the back. When I textured the pieces in Blender, I wasn't exactly sure how big to make the texture, how big size the brush should be, how deep should I carve the texture. I tried to judge it based on the size of the model, but it was sort of this experiment. I didn't know how it will look in the end, because it's usually pretty hard to judge the model on the screen, where you can zoom in and out. It's sort of hard to judge how big things will be. So I wanted to see the pieces painted, how deep the edges are, how nice the wood grain looks. I'm mostly happy with it. I think if I would do this again, I would do them probably like 10-20% larger and deeper. But I also want to see how well it will take the wash, because maybe that's completely fine the way it is. Maybe it doesn't need to be more pronounced. So I will be waiting with judgment until I paint this model and I can see if the texture is okay or it should be a little deeper. So we'll see. Okay, so I think that's all. We can actually start. I want to start with the cage. Here's a nice little tag I added. But it's actually not needed, so it's just identification of the model. We can bake it away. Here's the bottom cage part. And the first thing I want to do is to clean it of all the little artifacts that I left after painting, the small supports, maybe some places where I broke away the supports, there I left some little small tabs, so I want to clean this part while it's still separate, so it's easier that way. The pieces painted pretty clean, so there isn't much work to be done, so it won't take long. And today's process is the same as with the tank that I did previously, my previous model. I will be seeing if the pieces come together cleanly, if the parts are maybe not thick enough, if I want this, if I want to maybe change the way the parts come together. So I will be noting all of that in my head, and before I release this kit I will be implementing all the changes. Okay, so the carriage is clean, and I think we want to start with the wheels. So we have 4 identical wheels. Let's quickly go over them to make sure they are clean. The resin I used and all the sets that will be released is the same I used for the tank previously. So it's ABS like resin. It's a little more forgiving than standard resin. It's not as fragile, not as brittle, but it still takes details and sands pretty well, so it's easy to work with. So I think it's a really good material. As previously, we will be using cyanoacrylate glue for the set. You can't use styrene glue, classic standard glue for this, and because the resin doesn't interact with it. Okay, I want the wheels to be turned pretty randomly. I don't want them all to be the same angle, but one thing I have to keep in mind, because there are those teeth on the outside, I want all the pieces to sit nicely on the floor, so the ballista doesn't wobble. So I think the way I want to do this is I will do 2 wheels on one side. One will be glued, the other will be loose, just so they position themselves. Oh, you can kind of see it skipping between the teeth, so I want them to position nicely, and then I will do rest of them. Okay, so before I do that, let me just quickly check if the Steam is still going, because we had some connection problems in the beginning. So let's just quickly confirm. Okay, I think everything is going okay. Okay, so let's start. Here's one. Here's the second one. They rotated a little, positioned themselves, and I think it grabbed already. There we go. Very nice. Nice little wheel. Let's do the other one. Okay, there we go. The metal strips are a very similar angle, but you can see by the wood piece in the middle that they are probably around 90 degrees to each other. So it's okay. Let's do the third one. Maybe let's randomize them a little more, so they are not all the same angle. I squeezed too hard. Maybe let's support it with the fourth one. Give it a moment to grab. Okay. And we can do the fourth one. Hey. There we go. And here's our nice little kite. All wheels sit nicely to the surface, so this was a success. Let's continue. Next, what I want to attach are those two columns with the axle for the main body. They come together like this. Do I want to connect them to each other first or to the body first? I think it will be easier to connect them to each other first and then to the body. Okay, so let's set that aside. Let's quickly clean them a little. There are a few bumps left after the supports, so let's assure everything sits cleanly. Okay, and the second one. The bumps are very small, so I'm just cutting them off. I forgot the word. I'm cutting them off flat with a surface, so I don't need to do any sanding. Okay, and they come together like this. So let's actually glue them. A little bit of squeeze out, and it's okay. Let's make sure they are square. Okay, now let's wipe the squeeze out. Very nice. They are not symmetrical. You need to know which side is front and which one is back, but they are even hard to see, but they are those small keys on the end of the pieces, and you have these tiny little slots, so it's easy to see that it doesn't go in this way. You can actually figure out which side is front. Also, this construction is still pretty bendy, as you can see, so I can still maybe bend them a little out or into to fit the slots, and it's supposed to fit like this. I like to put the glue on the slots themselves, but I have a little hard access here, so I think I'll put the glue on the male parts this time. And also on the middle parts, which don't have keys, they just rest against the construction. One side first, it popped in, and then the other. Okay. There isn't much of a squeeze out, but maybe just wipe it a little. Okay, and here's our nice little card. Okay, so now we can set that aside, and we can move to the body of the ballista. Let's see what we want to start with. We want to start with the main body, and I think we'll have to start with the bow. The bow is actually the bow options are actually those 4 pieces. We have relaxed bow, cage, that's loose, bolt, that's also loose, and with bow that's loaded, you have bow, the bolt, and the cage all in one piece. So if you want to choose this version, you just put this in place and you are done. But if you want to put the relaxed bow, the way I intended it is you have this little connection piece for gluing on the cage, and the way I intended it is it goes on here, so it's thrown off the rails after the bolt is thrown. So that's the first part. Then you put the bow in, because you will have higher access because of the line here, so we want to start with the cage, and the bolt is intended for a figure that's supposed to hold it to reload it. But if you want to assemble it a little differently, you can start with a bow. You can cut off this angle piece, this connection piece. You can use the other bow to see the place. You can glue the bow in here. You can cut off the line, and you can add the bolt here, third of this way, to mimic to give the same look. But since we won't be doing that, we will not use the relaxed bow and the cage, so we can set them aside. They will not be needed today. The bolt will be used for the figure, so it's also not needed right now. And we will be gluing this version. It fits nicely here. Have two connection points, one at the back with the cage, one in the front. Nice little package. Okay, so let's make sure both pieces are clean and we can join them. Considering the pieces, so let's check them again quickly. You can see that here on the front those two pieces connect and both of them have wood texture. Come on, I don't know what's going on today with the camera, with the connection. Unlucky day. You can see that they join together. They are actually one piece of wood, and you can see that there is almost no gap, so you don't have to fill it with putty. If you glue them together correctly and put a primer over it, you will have clean connection. And let's see where I want to put the glue, here and here. Okay, that's a little inconvenient, but we'll manage it. Here and here. And there we go. Very nice. Do we have any squeeze out? Not really. Everything came together nicely. So here's our body with the bow. It will fit here on the card, but we'll do that in a minute. The parts we have left are pretty thin and fragile. This one will be used later. We have these 5 parts. Maybe let's start with these ones. Those 3 parts make up the back legs of the ballista. They fit in this hole and sort of create a triangle that rests on these teeth, and they let you to position the ballista to aim it. So let's quickly clean them and I'll show you how they come together. Okay, this one is pretty clean. It warped a little after painting. You could put it in hot water and straighten it, but it's pretty bendy as is, so I will not be doing that. I will be making these pieces a little thicker. They are a little too fragile for my taste. So those are one of the changes I will have to implement. And this middle piece is very fragile, the most fragile of the most fragile part of the entire kit. So I will definitely have to strengthen this one a little. Okay. So this leg goes in here, and this rest goes around it and rests on one of the tooth. And you can actually choose which one of the tooth you want to join in. So you can actually pick the angle of the ballista you want. So maybe I'm thinking about the order I want to do this in and which tooth I want to choose. How did I model it? We have a cheat sheet, we can actually look. 1, 2, 3, the third tooth. Okay, so I think I'll go with it. Where are we? Here we are. Okay, third tooth. So this goes here. This goes here. So I think I want to put the glue between the leg and the body first. Use the connector to position it, but not glue it in place. Then I'll do the second leg on the other side and with the connection piece. I think this will be the easiest way to do this. Okay. So let's give it a go. Let's see. Grabbed very nicely. Let's check how it rests. Okay, great. I can show you this in the air, but it rests nicely. Okay, so let's quickly do the other side. The same way. Do I need the thing to position it, or can I just eyeball it? I think I'll just eyeball it. Okay, and here we go. The legs are glued in place. They both touch the ground, so they are even. And now let's add the support. It goes over the pieces, so you have to bend it in place a little. You can see it even pops in place, and it will find its tooth by itself, like so. I'm worried that if I put glue here, it will grab before I can rotate it. So maybe I'll just put the glue on the tooth first and then add the glue here. I think it will be a little safer. The third tooth. the cyanoacrylate glue grabs resin pretty quickly, so sometimes you don't have enough time to put everything in place, but this wasn't this time. Everything is nicely connected. Now we can bend the pieces out gently and put the glue in place. I think I want a little needle to put this in place. I don't know where's my needle. I misplaced my needle. I have this wire that I'll use, but I can't find the... Oh, here we go. The end. Come on. This will work fine too. So let's use it as a precise applicator. There we go. Here's one side. And let's do the other one. Here we go. Very nice. They are still pretty bendy. I'll try to make them a little thicker, but when I actually glue them to the base, they will stabilize nicely. Okay, so we have those two pieces left, but I think I want to glue them after. So I think I want to do this connection now. Maybe not. Let's see, do they clear the floor? Yeah, they do. Yeah, I want to position them against the level of the body, and when the body is at an angle, it will be a little higher there. So let's do them first. They are mirrors of each other, and you can tell by the little, I don't know what you would call it, the tooth that goes against the gear. Come on. Oh, there we go. So the way I'm showing this now, the gear needs to rotate right. So it will be pulled like this. So this is the correct piece to use. Come on. Stupid thing. Oh, there you can kind of see it. Okay, and I want to give it 45-degree angle, so like this. That's a little too much. Okay, great. And now let's do the other side, but I want them to be angled to each other, like this. I was considering for a moment making this peg square, so there's just one way you can put it on, so you don't need to guess the angles, but I wanted to leave a room if someone wants to position them differently, so that's why they can rotate. Okay, very nice. Nice right angle. There we go. I think it's the most interesting look. The question I have now is I have those two sub-assemblies and the base, and I don't know how much I want to glue it together to make it easier to paint, but also easier to put the base materials on. If I glue the kite with the base, I will have difficulty going with the glue inside. And if I connect these two, I think I can reach with a brush here. Let's see. I don't think it will be a problem. Everything is reachable here. The kite also. So I think I can connect these two together. And as for the base, but I can actually go from here, from the front, because the kite has a pretty big clearance on the bottom. So I think I can connect everything. I don't think it will be a trouble. Okay, so let's start with these two parts. First, okay. Like so. The top body is pretty heavy. I want to make sure it grabs properly before I move it around, so it doesn't break away and break loose. And I think we are good. So here is fully assembled model. As you can see, it's not very complicated, not many parts, pretty quick to assemble. I think it came out really nice, really happy with it. Especially proud of the texturing and the bent bow. I think it gives this kit a little more interest and a little more soul. Very nice. And now we can put it on the base. Let's quickly see if the base is clean and doesn't require any cleaning. Maybe a few scrapes here. I think it's pretty okay. Ah, it's okay. Doesn't wobble. Let's see. The ballista in the original game doesn't use a base, it just stands on the ground. which is weird because all the other models use bases. So I'm not sure why the siege engines don't, and I'm not even sure if all of them don't use a base. I think there is something called a bolt thrower for a Gondor, which is like a small ballista, which I think it doesn't even move, but I think it has a base. Dwarves also have some throwing machine, sort of also like this sort of ballista thing, and I think it also might come with a base. But neither Isengard Ballista nor Mordor Catapult or Gondor Trebuch doesn't come with a base, which is weird. I decided to include the base with the kit, and if someone wants to use it, they can. If not, they can just leave the model without the base. So it's up to the person. I want to put my on the base. I think it will look a little nicer, and it will make the model a little safer and more sturdy. But I had to choose the size of the base. In the end, I landed on 105 by 70 millimeters oval, as you can see. I was debating for a moment if the base should be only on the parts that touch the ground, and the winding mechanism should hang outside the base. But in the end, I decided that the base isn't just for standing. It sort of marks where the model ends and where you touch when you have two models. It's sort of when the bases touch, you indicate that they touch. So I didn't want anything to hang off the base. I decided that to stay consistent with other models, and which makes the most sense, I decided in the end that the entire ballista should be on a base, like so. I think it's a better choice. Okay, let's see. I think I might want to mark the base. I think it will be a little easier to put it in the right place. So maybe let's start with this axis. Okay. Where's the center? Like this. Ah, damn it. Okay, and now from this side. I think like this. Okay, so okay. The marker will be painted over, so it doesn't matter, but I want to take as much as I can while it's still wet. Okay, so here we have our position marked. If we glue it in like this, it will be nice and straight and centered. Okay, so I think we can go for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, everything is nice and straight. All 6 points touch the base. So here is our finished model. Very happy with it. Around 10-15 years ago, when I was collecting miniatures for what was back then Lord of the Rings strategy battle game. Now it's Middle Earth. It was before the Hobbit movies were released. My main army I collected and I played with was Isengard, and as I'm sure is the case for many young collectors and hobbyists, it was pretty pricey to spend your money on siege engines and larger models, so we always bought sort of infantry units that were more plentiful and made your army a little bigger, so it was a better use of the money. And I always saw the photos of the ballista and I thought it was really fun and really cool. Always wanted to have one, and now many years later I'm a proud owner of one. So I'm very happy with it. Very happy to have this model, to have made this model. Very proud of it. Very nice. I don't have my Isengard army anymore. I got rid of it almost entirely. Those guys I will be working on today were just some leftovers. I didn't sell, so because they were in the other box, so they are holdouts. But I, as you can see, have few of the minis left, and it's really nice to have the ballista. And stupid camera that doesn't focus on it. I'm sorry guys, I don't know what's going on today. There we go. Okay, very cool. The ballista is finished, and now we can move to our conversions. So for the ballista, like I mentioned, we need 3 engineers. One is engineer captain. I will be using this standard captain. He works well. So we have 1 made already. Only 2 to go. One will be a soldier loading the next bolt. I used this pikeman for it. I'm sure you can use other poses and maybe even combine few of the figures together to have a little more unique poses. So don't take my choices as a definite guide. I'm sure there are many different ways you can achieve good results. So that's just the way I'm doing it. Okay, I'll do it later. So this guy, I won't be changing his pose. I think this pose works pretty well. The only thing I want to do is to replace his pike with the bolt, and he can be positioned next to the ballista. And as you can see, he's preparing to load another bolt as soon as this one is shot. So he was all glued together and sort of painted. I cleaned off the paint yesterday, and in the process the hands came off accidentally. And now I'm thinking if I want to glue the pike on in first to have the hands in proper position, and then cut out the pike and glue in the bolt, or maybe I want to cut off the hands first, replace them with a bolt, and then glue it to the body. The second one might be a little cleaner, but I think it's also easier to mess up, because if I don't put the hands together in a good position, it will be too late to glue the hands to the body. If I glue the hands first, it will be hard to clean out the palms for the bolt. And I don't want to cut the bolt, because this will make it a little weaker. So I want to put the bolt in place as one piece. Decisions. I think I'll work on the hands first. And I think I want to... Can I clean the hands out? Might be a little difficult. Maybe I'll just cut the pike off. Yeah, I think it will be a little easier. Okay, so one hand is separated. Nice and clean. Now I can cut the bolt and glue the hand in place. Where I want it somewhere here. Okay, here's one cut. And now I want to shorten the bolt by the thickness of the hand. So let's see. Around here. Okay, so this short piece is disposable. And now we can glue the bolt to the hand. Like this. And like this. So maybe let's start with the front end first. Because it will be easier to hold after. There we go. Very nice. Like so. Now let's do the other side. I'm looking at the bolt at the ballista, how it should be rotated, and the end and the blade are in the same plane, so like this. Okay. Let's make sure everything is straight. Nice. That came together a lot nicer than I expected. Nice little hand. Okay, so let's see. This goes here. Oh, actually, I can glue the bolt to the guy first, and maybe then it will be easier to connect the other hand. Either way, I want to cut off the rest of the pike first. I will be saving the front tip of the pike, as any Isengard player and collector knows. You always break this off, so it's very valuable to have one spared to repair your minis. So this will be very useful. Okay. And we can throw this out. This won't be really needed. Nice little hand. What are the... Even if I glue this to the guy first, I can still rotate it and give it a wrong position. So it's not a foolproof solution. But I think it will be easier. I think I will start with the bolt and then add the other arm. I think that's the way to go. I will also try to connect the bolt to the belly, so it's supported a little better. So I want to put the glue both on the hand and on the wood of the bolt, like so. Okay. Very nice. And now we need to cut a place for the hand on the bolt and glue the hand in place. So it's actually coming along pretty nicely. Let's see. How to do this? Okay, I think this will work. Sorry for doing this off camera, but I need to do this on the side of the table to have clearance for the body. Okay, so here is the front chopped off. And now we can cut off as much as we need. So I think I'll leave a little more length and then check it if it fits okay. Little tiny piece. And let's see. Oh, I broke off the end also. Where did it go? Oh, here we go. Oh, it broke off. I'll glue this in a moment. Yeah, it fits pretty nicely. No need to remove any more material. So we can do this. Okay, very nice. Let's see. Probably something like that. And maybe let's do the front to make it look nice. And then I can do the back to match. Okay, let's use an activator. Okay, it grabbed nicely. Let's finish with the back. It's set too quickly because of the activator. Let's try that again. Okay. And let's lock this down. And here we have our loading engineer. I think it looks pretty nicely. I think this pose makes sense. So here's our second guy. And this is the pose I chose for the third engineer. I think it would be nice if he didn't hold his shield in the left hand, but I didn't want to spare more minis for it than I have to, so I think it's pretty reasonable that this is just a warrior that was on the battlefield that got called to wind up the ballista, so I will just remove his sword and I will use his one hand to grab the handle of the winder, but the left hand will be still in the shield. So I think this will look pretty believable. One thing I'm considering if I want to put his sword on his belt, as he put it away, but Uruk-hai didn't put away their weapons. They always held them because they were engineered specifically for fighting, not for resting. So I'll think about that for a few minutes. Also, I want to position his right hand a little differently, so it reaches out, not to the top. So I want to remove the sword, the chopper, whatever this thing is, and then I want to separate his right hand at the shoulder and reposition it. So let's see how it actually goes. Let's start with the sword. There we go. I also want to open his hand, so I think it will be easier to do now. So let's start with it. How I want to do this? I can either cut the hand open and try to, I don't know, bend it, maybe with heat a little. Not sure how well it will go. But I can just try sanding a little groove between his fingers, because when he grabs the lever his hand is still closed, so I think it will be a little better. So let's start with a little cut. Let's start with a little cut, and then I'll move to the file. Okay. Here we have our starting groove. And now I will use a file to open it up a little more. Maybe this one. Let's see. I'll just refine it a little with the blade. It's not perfect, for sure, but I think it will work. Okay, and the bottom. Okay. I even managed to save the thumb. It's not perfect like I mentioned, but you still have the fingers and his hand is a little bit more open, so I think it will look okay after painting. Especially in real life, because camera makes everything a lot larger and more visible, but on the tabletop it doesn't have to be this perfect. I think it works well enough. Okay, so now we have to amputate his arm. I want to do this cut as clean as possible to ideally just rotate it and glue it back in, so I don't have to do any filling. So I'm thinking if I should use a saw. But the hand cut pretty cleanly. I'll just try to do this with the knife. I think I'll have a little more control this way. I shaved off a little of his helmet. I think I'll just make it symmetrical. I looked at the warriors yesterday, many different poses, to choose this one, and I saw that the helmets differ a little. Some of the top things are wider, some are narrower, so I think it still looks okay. We are close. And there we go. So this is basically what I want to achieve. Like that. So let's clean the connection and let's see how it all comes together. No, come back here. Okay, let's see. It sticks to the side. I want it more the way he's looking, like this. So he reaches to the front. So I would have to remove some of his arm, so they come together like this. Let's see if this will look nicely. Yeah, because this is a sort of wrong angle. Maybe let's do this. Maybe that's a good idea. So he's pulling this towards him. His pose fits his body pose, his legs and the torso fits this position a little more. Looks more natural. And that's the second option, but I don't think it looks nearly as good. Oh, I bent the shield a little. Yeah, this looks a lot better. But I have to shave a little of the arm. to change the angle and do as little filling as possible. Ideally no filling, but I'm not sure if it will be possible. Okay, I think this will fit nicely. I just want to flatten both of the connections a little so they fit cleaner. Let's see. Okay. And okay. Okay, I think we can go through with this. Nice. Very happy with that. Let's see. So he goes from this side. Like that. It's not the worst. It's not not the best. But I think it works. I think it's okay. So maybe let's just see with the sword. What's the decision on that? I mean, we have it already, so why not? I can do a handle out of this piece and I can glue it to the belt. I think it will look a little nicer. Okay. I can sand it a little to make the transition smoother. Don't want to make it too smooth, so you can still see it's a handle. I think it's okay. And now I want to cut it to size. Let's compare it. Around here will be good. And here's our little cleaver. I can refine the handle a little more now that it's free. Okay, very nice. And now we can add it to our guy. Yeah, I think it adds a nice little detail. I think it looks better. Okay, so here's our crew. Once again, the reused captain, our reloader, and the winder. I think they will complement the model very nicely. Here's our ballista model. Something a little different this time, not science fiction, but fantasy related. So now I will implement all the changes I need to the 3D model. I will make sure that it is all complete and refined before releasing it, and then I will work on some instructions and print the first batch. So if you are interested in this model, if you want a ballista for yourself, follow my social media where I will be announcing the release date for this and all the other models, and you can also keep a lookout on my Etsy store where I will be releasing the models. So if you want, you can stay updated. And I think it's all for today. A little shorter stream, but I don't see a need to make it any longer than it has to be. So I will be finishing up the model in my free time. I will be painting it and posting the pictures of it to my social media. So if you are interested how it will look finished, you can also check it out. Thank you to everybody who joined, who watched the stream. I hope you like it, and that's all for today. So thanks, and I'll see you next time. Bye.